I'm Annie Larkin, Vice President and Director of Community Engagement of the Amerind Museum. Welcome to Amerind's online flute performance with Vince Redhouse. Before we begin the program today, I want to acknowledge that Amerind is located in southeastern Arizona, on lands where O'odham, Hopi, Oshwe, Yoeme, and Apache families have lived for untold generations, and whose wisdom and traditions live on today in vibrant communities. We are grateful for what all of these communities, rich in history, have to teach us. Thank you to our program sponsor, Desert Diamond Casinos, as well as our members and donors who enable Amerind to provide free online programming and to fulfill Amerind's mission to foster and promote the knowledge and understanding of the Native peoples of the Americas through research, education, conservation, and community engagement. To learn how you can assist Amerind in supporting its mission and programs by becoming a member or donor, please visit amerind.org. On Saturday, October 22nd, Autumn Fest will take place at the Amerind Museum in Dragoon from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. Please visit the events section of Amerind's Facebook page or website, amerind.org, for more information. On Saturday, October 28th at 11 a.m., Amerind will host the free online lecture, Contemporary Native Warriors with Warren Kitan. Please visit the events section of Amerind's Facebook page or website, amerind.org, for registration details. I would now like to introduce today's guest. Vince Redhouse is a member of the Navajo tribe who began playing windwoods at the age of 7 and has gone on to be an accomplished flautist. He is a Native American Music Award winner, Grammy nominee, talented tenor saxophone player, and teaches native flute to Native American youth. And if you would like to ask him any questions during the program today, please type your questions into the Q&A chat box, and we'll gather those to share with him after his performance. Also, a link to today's recording will be sent to all of our Zoom registrants via email later today. And along with the recording, we will share a link to where you can buy copies of Vince Redhouse's music. And with that, Vince, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm very honored to be able to share music with the folks that are watching now. next song is called The Forest Path. And I've recently moved to Oregon, Newport, Oregon. So I haven't been in the Southwest for a while, but I really appreciate just the living things that are all around us. In the Navajo way, there's a term, it's called hajoji, which is there's this thing within us that connects us to all the living things that are around us in the world. And so these trees, the forests, when I would walk through them, I would feel the life, and their root system, they communicate with one another through that. And science tells us that if one tree is struggling or has a need, that another tree can actually help that with their roots and the things that they are able to provide to them with that. And so it's really a beautiful environment. And I'm really happy to be able to share that song with you, The Forest Path. This next song that I'm going to play is called The Last Train Home. And this is actually a song by Pat Metheny. And excuse me, I got a little bit watered up here, but he's really a great artist, and I just love this piece. And I think that um, there's things that are played on the native flute that are so beautiful in a lot of different respects and genres of music. And so you'll be able to hear some of the things that he's sharing with his music, and I'm able to also play along with him. And I really appreciate you listening, and I hope that you like this. That's such a beautiful piece that he wrote. I'm going to play a song now that I really hadn't thought about until I happened to look at my wrist. And this is some jewelry that my father was my father's. And this particular bracelet here is sand cast. So it's really old, and they would pour the metal into onto hardened earth, and that's how they would form some of the metal work and the things that hold turquoise. And whenever I'm performing and I notice something like this, I always think of it as an occasion to bring my father into the situation or into the place where I'm at. And as a Navajo, we believe that that's what happens when we wear a piece of their clothing or jewelry, that we actually are bringing them here. And having done that, I just really felt like it was important to play a song that my father would sing. And what this song is it's a Diné writing song. And I was able to record this with my dad singing before he passed. I think it's almost 20 years now since he passed. Tremendous man, my father, our father. He really helped the native people, Navajo people. And when he passed, uh, Governor Napolitano was the governor of Arizona at that time, and she wrote a eulogy for our family about my father Rex, and said that he was an ambassador uh, from the Navajo Nation, not just to Pima County or Maricopa or to Arizona, or she named all these different places, but he actually traveled to different places in the world. But she said he was an ambassador from the Navajo Nation to the whole world. And his life is a legacy, I know from my siblings and myself, of serving other people and trying to help them along their way. And he was the first one from his clan to leave the reservation. And he took a big hit for that. And also he married my mom when he met her during World War II in the Philippines. And so that even made it more difficult for him. And raised us off the reservation, and he got a degree from Santa Clara University, and then he worked for government service. And we were located in Monterey. I was born and raised in Monterey, California. And in that place, I was able to receive music education. I was able to go to school studying music, play in jazz big band on tenor sax, and study classical music. And so he was always thinking about bettering us and other Native people around. I remember hearing stories of him going to the U of A the first day of school at the student union, would set up a powwow drum and be singing there with some other singers, and all the Native students who were incoming would gather around the drum, and they would hear songs that they knew, intertribal songs that others, just everybody knew. And my dad would invite them over to their house on the east side of Tucson on Friday nights. And there he would set up a powwow drum in the living room. And then my mom and others would cook fry bread, and they'd have Indian tacos, Navajo tacos, and they would be able to speak their language and feel not so far away from who they were. And they got to sing at the drum. They got to just be with one another, and it really made a difference in these people's lives. And I saw that. I saw him doing that, and it was a real encouragement to me. And so I feel like right now I'm just gonna have I'm gonna play along with him as he does this um, the song. Now, the song that he sings, it's a song that um, the young Navajo men would come in riding into a gathering And as they're riding their horses, sometimes they would be singing a song together, and that's what the riding song was. I've sang this, or I've actually performed this song for other people, Navajo people in Denver and other places, just off the cuff, just to share some music, and they'll start dancing. They'll grab each other and start dancing and smiling and laughing, and that's what my father was about. I mean, with his people, he loved them and he loved to bring joy to people. And so this is my dad, and I'm gonna play the native flute, and then I'm gonna sing a little bit with him. Beautiful song. It's really old too. It's nice. I'm gonna play a jazz piece for you, and this is a beautiful song that was composed by Keith Jarrett, and he's a very notable jazz pianist. He's from the United States, and he's just a great composer. And I'll be playing this on the native flute, and it's a ballad. And I really, when I heard this song, I thought, I'm gonna play that thing, and I'm gonna play it on the native flute because it's such a beautiful melody. Now, I started playing the native flute about almost 30 years ago. And before that, I had been playing woodwinds for pretty much most of my life. I've been playing saxophone, and I became pretty accomplished on the tenor sax. And I was a soloist with the Air Force Band, and in my early 20s. And when I found myself with the native flute, I kind of I had some ideas about what I wanted to do with the instrument, because of having all that experience playing woodwinds. I mean, I'm used to using these fingers. And I remember I moved from Monterey to Tucson. And during that move, I had a very difficult situation come on me. And that was, I became a single dad with 4 kids, 3 teenagers and 1 younger. And as a result of that, I was really struggling to try to meet the needs of, my kids, and myself. And I remember, sleeping on the floor in a 3-bedroom apartment. There was no furniture in there, and I was working as a painter, and I just was struggling to make ends meet, and I couldn't sleep at night. I was so afraid about what had happened and what I was looking at and with the kids. And I remember I had tenor sax on a stand. I had keyboard, had a guitar, had all these musical instruments that I had played over the years. And I had this native flute laying down on the floor next to me where I was sleeping. So after a couple nights of not being able to sleep, I just was getting really, really frantic about what I was going to do. I couldn't think straight. But that still small voice kept telling me, pick up the flute and play it. And I remember through 2 nights just going, no, I'm not going to do that. That's crazy. And then on the third night, I was just beside myself, and I felt that little voice saying, pick up the flute and play it. And so I'm going, God, what am I going to do? I don't have any other choice. I mean, I have to do something. And I just played one note. I picked it up and played one note. And I remember I played it a couple of times, and I fell asleep. and I was so grateful. And when I woke up in the morning, I looked at that flute and I said, this is the musical instrument that's going to be the main instrument that I'm going to play from now on. And I realized that God had given me a gift, that He had showed me something about myself culturally as a Navajo man. And also he showed me that there was a connection that I had with this instrument. And then I began to play it like it was the instrument that I would be known for. And Tucson was a great place for me to to create this new system of playing because nobody knew what I was doing. It wasn't like I was living in the big city or someplace where people would hear and then they spread the word about, oh, this guy's doing something really interesting on that native flute. Nobody knew what I was doing. Uh, I think of Tucson as this beautiful place. It's like a big town. It's not like Phoenix or Scottsdale. It's like a big town, and there's more of that kind of goings ons there, and I was able to do a lot. And one of the things I enjoy about playing a native flute is that I get to play songs that I've always loved hearing, and even playing on the tenor sax. And now I get to do it on this beautiful sounding instrument, the native flute. And so this song is called My Song. I'd like to thank you for spending this time with me and listening to the native flute and all the different things that you've heard and what I've played. And I'm thankful to the Lord for giving me the gift of music to share with you. Music is such a tremendous way to just to communicate and share our spirit through song. And I'm glad that I could do that this morning with you. And I guess now we're going to just open it up for questions and answers, Q&A.
Thank you so much, Vince. That was absolutely beautiful. Um, what, what question for me first? I gave a quite abbreviated bio during your introduction, but I was wondering if you could tell our audience a bit about your musical influences while you were growing up in Monterey.
Yeah, what was really interesting about growing up in Monterey is the Monterey Jazz Festival's right there. And uh, me and my five siblings, we all got bit by the music bug. And we would perform for neighborhood families. We would put on a little kind of shindig show where we would have a little transistor radio playing songs from different groups that were playing at that time. And we would actually cut out cardboard amplifiers and go to the Sprouts Ritz up the store and get cardboard boxes and make guitars and strings and stuff and have a broom for mic stand. And we did the whole thing. We would perform these songs and we would go on tour around the neighborhood and be on picnic tables and doing stuff. And so that was kind of like the driving force in our lives as young people. We found something that we could do really well and that people enjoyed seeing and they liked us for it because we were, we had a mixed culture. We had a kind of like, where do we fit in here, uh, and there was quite a bit of prejudice just being different in that area of California. But we, my influences were for jazz. It was like listening to Stan Getz. Miles Davis was another one. Joe Henderson, he was from the Bay Area, and just all these great players that were there in the in that part of California. And then the thing with the Haight-Ashbury and the music revolution that took place late 60s, and we were right there. There were kids that were going to see the Rolling Stones any given weekend, or see the Grateful Dead, or see Santana, all these different groups, and so it was really alive. There was like a buzz happening, and I kind of jokingly say, well, it's when the musicians discovered psychedelic drugs. That's how the music revolution happened. But we were hit by it, and I just held on to a lot of those influences for many years. And in fact, some of the influences that I had, tenor sax, some of these guys are some of my best friends today, and it's really a great thing. And they tell me this instrument and what I'm doing to teach the Native American youth on reservation schools, they all say, this is the greatest work that you're going to do in your lifetime. This is it. It's not playing a tenor sax. It's not doing these other things. It's using that instrument to give something. And I think that's what a gift is. When we give it, that's a gift. And God gave me a gift. And so that's how I choose to share it and help these kids. And so it's a blessing. I know that's kind of long-winded.
Oh, well said. The next question, is your flute in the key of D?
No, it's actually in the key of F sharp minor. Okay. And so it's, to me, the reason why I chose this key is because of most of the songs that I play, including the classics. By that I mean like Claire de Lune, or Meditation de Theus, or all those different songs, Joy of Man's Desire. They all fit into the range of this instrument that I extended by creating this system. And so this really happens to be, for me, the best range of that can open up to playing all these different uh, songs and everything else like that. So I think it's really beautiful.
The next question, uh, do you prefer playing native songs or playing modern songs adapted to the native flute?
I think it's kind of like a 50-50. You know, I heard the other day, I heard 20 students at a high school on the Navajo reservation, and they were playing songs that I had written for the native flute, and they were more like Native American songs and melodies. And I heard 20 students playing in unison in an auditorium. I was online and listening to them. I was floored. I mean, I couldn't believe how amazing that it sounded. Um, all those students playing together and playing the same song. It was like being at a powwow and hearing singers with a powwow drum and just blasting. I mean, just singing and how captivating and almost overwhelming it is. And I was listening to these students and I was just going, oh, this is so beautiful. So for me, it's like 50-50. I love playing contemporary music. I love playing all different styles of music. But when it comes down to where I feel really comfortable, a lot of times it's like the first song that I played, The Forest Path. That's me playing from my heart. That's me sharing how I feel. And after playing all these different kinds of music, jazz, classical, all these different styles of music, I think where I'm at now at my age is I just want to be able to sing from my heart and from my spirit. And then, that's really, I don't have to impress anybody like that or make people go, wow, that's amazing. It's just like this is just how I feel and how I see things, and I think it's nice.
Would you recommend one of your CDs to use for meditation?
Yes, there's the one which the song is The Forest Path. That is the CD that everybody uses for meditation or yoga or massage therapy. It won the Native American Music Award. It won the Best Instrumental CD of the year, and I think the reason why is because it has such a relaxing and calming effect on us, and I think that's really what I feel I want to do. I want to bring that kind of feeling to people when they hear the music, and the instrument lends itself to that. The native flute, an all wood instrument, uh, the air, how it's diffused, so it's not free blowing into it, but it's broken a little bit, and just the sound of all wood. There's a certain frequency and a certain resonance, and yeah, that's that. But that CD, "Songs of the Earth," is the one to get, and it's just really, really beautiful. And
And as a reminder to our audience, I will be sending out a link to where you can purchase those CDs as well as the recording later today. The next question, have you ever tried playing traditional style Irish or Scottish music?
It's interesting that that question has been asked because my wife Diane, she is mostly Irish, and she felt a kinship to the native, the songs and to the powwow drum, and she gets really heartfelt feelings when she hears these things. But I think a lot of it is traced back to her DNA to the Irish, because they were also kind of tribal people who were really connected to the earth, and they sang songs and chants and different things like that. Um, and so that kind of has opened my ears to the sound of that music. And it's funny because the penny whistle has a lot of it's like a pentatonic scale on that instrument. So, for instance, there's a song that Celine Dion sings. It's called "My Heart Will Go On." and that opening line is played an octave higher, but it's played on a penny whistle, and it has almost the same feeling that this instrument has, and it's interesting to see that. But yeah, I've thought about that. I've actually thought about going, getting some recordings of some of the songs, and so when we do eventually go to Ireland or Scotland, that I would play along with these guys. And there is a connection between the Choctaws and the Irish, because when they had the potato famine, and really they were really going a difficult time, the Choctaw who went through the Trail of Tears, they felt an empathy for these people, and they gave money to them. And even today, there's a yearly festival with a memorial commemorating the Choctaw, and how that they generously gave to these people, even though they themselves had been, they had gone through the Trail of Tears. And so, yeah, there's a connection, and I look forward to that, playing along with the penny whistles.
Among the Native flautist community, is there an objection to non-natives playing Native songs on Native flutes?
I think that if you draw the line hard, and that there could be, and it's funny how people have strong feelings just because they're people. We all have different feelings about different things, even if we saw the same thing or went through the same thing. And so I have no objection to anything concerning the native flute. I mean, there are people who don't believe women should be able to play it, but I've never felt that way. I've never felt that. I think that if we have an inclination or a desire to do something, and we do it in respect, I think there's nothing wrong with that. It changes when that becomes something that we're trying to project, but it's not for good reasons, and then it changes. But by and large, I just think, if a non-native person wants to play a song that's intertribal, okay, so there are sacred songs that I'm not even supposed to play. I would need to get permission. For instance, if I was playing a Hopi song that was sacred, I wouldn't do that by course. I just wouldn't feel good about doing that, because there's a respect that we have for one another and for things that are like that. And so I hope that answers your question, but I think it's fine. For intertribal songs, it's great.
And where can our audience see you perform live?
Okay, so I perform every weekend in Oregon, in Newport, or close to there, Salishan, which is a resort. And it's it's hard to say when I'm going to be performing next. Um, I'm looking forward to going to the Southwest in probably the first of the year, and I'll be looking around to see if there's opportunities to perform. And then, I teach every week at various schools online on reservation schools, but that's just for the students, and they get to see and hear me. And so I really don't even know when the next time I'm going to play is. And since the pandemic, everything changed. For us as artists, we basically were stopped dead in our tracks, and it really hurt us a lot. But things are starting to move now, and I'm looking forward to opportunities to play. It's just going to take a while for those wheels to spin in that direction.
Vince, thank you so much for joining us today. What a beautiful performance.
Thank you so much, and I'm so glad for everybody that was able to see and hear, and I hope that you all enjoyed it. And it was an honor. I'm honored, and thank you so much.
And thank you to our audience for joining us today. We hope you'll join us for our next online program coming up later this month. Thank you, everyone. Bye.